What's up guys, Nico here with a new deck guide. As you might know, the latest patch has dropped and this patch brought a lot of new things to consider, a lot of new strategies, and also the game, before the patch, the game was dominated by by movement strategies. And I mean, movement strategies can still dominate and if played correctly, but it's not just movement now. So we have some interesting things we could try, and the first deck I wanted to try because I think it is a great strategy, especially for new players if they play against more experienced players. It is one way, let's say, to annoy them. It is a destructive deck, and at first I already had the deck guide planned, but then I have to give props to Beer and Chips. He suggested that I should change my hero. So as a man of the people and of the community, I listened to our community members, and that's why I changed the hero. I had Ryuk before, but now we're going to take Rush. So before we start, just to take everything away right from the start, the deck name is called Tock Mfer. I think most of you know what Mfer means. That's mainly because of the GIF I just showed you. I love the movie and I love the GIF, and that's why we will call the deck Tock Mfer, because we will press, or we will annoy our opponent with time reducing cards, or with a time reducing strategy. That means we will just, let's head into the deck building process. As I said, we will take Rush, but before I explain why, as a guardian we have three options, and we will take, of course, Rutik. Why Rutik? Because he has the ability Sabotage, which means reducing your opponent's starting time budget by 60 seconds. That's pressure right from the start without even moving one card. So we will do that. We will add Rutik. And let's see. As a hero, I had Ryuk first because I wanted the high defensive wall, and I think I committed too much with all the Pioneer cards and everything on defense. And now we have the option for Rush. Rush gives you, of course, board control with his 3 movement, but also he is with his area damage ability, which is dealing 2 damage to all enemy targets adjacent, so an AoE damage. He is also not that easy to count. So if your opponent has to make a big play, he always has to consider those 2 damage you deal on adjacent targets, which takes time. That's why we take Rush. And the second reason is, and I did that just in the game, he can, against some guardians, especially with the fellowship with Mfer, we can set up a guardian kill if we switch sides with him very fast. Playing very smart. Coffee. So, alright, let's move on. As I said, for the Masters, we will take Mfer because he is in a fellowship with Rush, gives him +1 attack, and also his ability is resilient to range attacks, which is just a good option for us and less options for our opponent, which means he has to take that into consideration as well, and that takes time as well. Okay. Mfer, we will take Briggs because he has high defense. We will use the whole fellowship, and because he has a protect ability, which will also minimize the options of our opponent, because he can block range attacks on the 2 fields behind him. And last but not least for the masters, we will take Blankara. She has 7/7, 2 movement, and her new ability, the ability type is called Alteration, influencing the behavior of enemy units when being adjacent, and her ability is called Hard Escape, which is reducing the movement of enemy units to 1 when they are adjacent to her. So that's another thing our opponent has to consider, and also gives us the opportunity to maybe set up a hero kill with Iron Rush. So that's the 3 masters. Move on to the pioneers. Now for the pioneers we have a lot of options. I would say the first one we're gonna have is Varnax. 3/7/1/2, decent card, but what makes him really interesting for this deck is his ability. He has also Sabotage, reducing your opponent's starting time budget by 30 seconds, which means in combination with Root Tick 90 seconds less for your opponent right from the start, which means normally a player starts with 240 seconds, and so he has only 150 seconds left in case he doesn't have any great preparation cards in his deck. So we will take him. We will take a Valk with 3 range for some board control. We won't take his Fellowship into the deck. We will use Rakwa, 3 attack, 6 defense, 3 movement. Because we have some 1 movement cards, we will also use Rakwa with her 3 movement. It's a nice addition. Also a good option to set up a Guardian kill as well. Then we will use, and now we come to the more high defense units, Drax, 3/10/1/1. We will also use her Fellowship with Nisash. In that case 4/10/1/1, very high defense, very hard to overcome. We will use Brooks because of the Fellowship with Bricks, and also because he has 5/8 with the Fellowship, and he has the ability Side by Side, which is blocking range attacks on the fields left and right from this card. So all those cards give our opponent less options to make attacks, which means he has to think about his sequence first, he has to calculate, and that, as we know, takes time. So we have 2 pioneers left. Now we could take range pioneer, but I don't think we need another range pioneer. We will just take 1 for the damage. That's Kishk, 7/4/2/1, because we have high defense units already. 7 attack puts a little bit pressure on the map. And then this card is very interesting for us. 3/5/2/1 doesn't have that much attack, but it doesn't matter because the ability type is Assassination and he's Executioner if he's attacking and assassinating in close combat. So that means when you attack an enemy unit of the same card level, in his case a Pioneer, the unit's defense value is ignored. Alright. Now one could say, yeah, but 2 movement, it's hard to get in range. Well, I will get to that in a second, because we will use him specially for some counter cards, and I will explain when we get to the equipment cards. Alright, we have 7 Pioneers, and then we move on to the Warriors. First warrior we are going to take is Finn. Gives us the support ability, range attacks on the 2 fields in front of this card will be blocked. Nice addition. Also another thing our opponent has to consider. We will use Jupo, area damage as well, and combined with Iron Rush, a lot of AoE damage to calculate. Nice addition. We will use Irash. She's probably, you won't be able to use her that much because of her 1 movement, but for a later stage of the game she can be a nice addition because of her paralyzed. You could block 1 field away for your opponent. Also you could block or paralyze a higher card of your opponent, which means a hero or maybe a master, who knows. That means that our opponent has to put some focus on her as well. He can't just ignore her. That's impossible. I had one game where I paralyzed my opponent's hero with her, and if I would have played it a little bit better, I would have won the game. So nice addition as well. Then we will use Jatasi, not because of his free movement, I mean that's a nice addition, but the main reason why is because of his ability, misinformation. Reducing your opponent's time budget by 10 seconds every time when slaying an enemy unit. Which means, at the later stage of the game, as we are already pressured our opponent with time, and he has, I don't know, maybe per turn 60 to 100 seconds left, we could focus him, or we could use him to focus on maybe troop cards. Imagine destroying a troop of 4 units and reducing the time budget of your opponent by 40 seconds. So when he has his next turn, I don't know, maybe he has 60 or maybe he has 20 seconds left, which is impossible to make a reasonable turn. So we will take him, and we will not use him for the beginning right away. We will use him for a later stage of the game. As I said, we will take the Naphas troop with the fellowship with Drax 4-3-2-1 combined stacked 8-6-2-1 2 times. We will use Caesar's 2-2-1-3 free range, very good for us, 4 times, gives us some board control. We will use Vaux because of the fellowship. This card is not that important for us, but it gives the defense to Briggs and Brooks, that's why we will use him, and we won't use him for the starting 5. But there are some options to use him as a hurdle to get to the Guardian or whatever. Then we will use Zazix 1-4-2-1 ability, Infection Zone fighting ability. When this card dies, so it's an after death ability, the attack value of all adjacent enemy units gets reduced by 3. We can use her with 2 movement to block away fields and also to let our opponent guess again and count again, which of course costs time. So as the deck name says, take Tock. Then we have 3 spots left. I would like to play Chuna, 4 attack, 2 movement as a range card, 2 times in the deck. We can use her we can use her behind Briggs, Drax, and also some other units. And last but not least, we will use, I think we will use, that's a good question. I think we will use 1 Giro, because he has good stats, 5-2-2-1, we don't need both of them, gives us 5 attack value, a card our opponent has to consider when we place it. That's for the warriors, and now we move on to the equipment cards. So now, equipment cards, as I said, we have Jask in the deck. Our deck is, I would say, pioneer heavy, especially with those high defense pioneers. Now, there are some counters to our deck. One of those counters is Xiko, Lorik, Vauk, and Lapu. Lorik and Vauk, all of them have free range, and Lorik and Lapu have pretty high attack value, which destroys most of the cards, or at least lowers their defense value immensely. Well, good English. And then Xiko, for example, has assassination. If we move Drax into the neutral zone, he has 10 defense, but Xiko will just snipe him and assassinate him, which is why we have to take care of Xiko. We will use the Lucus, which gives us 1 movement on melee cards, and we will equip our good friend Jask. He has 3 attack, but he will assassinate the pioneers. He will assassinate Lapu, he will assassinate Lorik, he will assassinate Vauk if we play against the Naphas, and he will assassinate our good friend Xiko. So the good thing is, with movement we can get to him, but he can't get to us with range. That's why we will equip Jask with the 1 movement. The second option would be if we don't face those cards, or if we face those cards, but we can equip Kishk as well because he has 7 attack. With 3 movement, he can destroy those cards as well. But I would focus more on the Trask equipment. That's the first one. The second one we are going to take is we will use Roter Dune's Tooth, which gives us 2 attack and 1 and decreases 1 defense of an Hermeticist card. We can use this card for Bricks, Blankara, Vanax, and also for Chupo probably, but I would suggest to use it for Vanax. He has 3, 7, 1, 2, 3 attack is okay, but it's not that big of a deal. With 5 attack and 6 defense and 2 range, and also making a 5 attack in close combat, or dealing 5 damage, he is pretty strong. We will use this for Vanax, and sometimes we could also use it for Blankara, especially, for example, if we play against Lisana, who has only 8 defense, we can make pressure with 9 attack. So that's the second thing, the second equipment. And the third one, well, we could go for a lot of options. In my opinion, what makes sense is if we have enough damage. I think we have enough damage now. If we use Azrin's Essence, that gives us, for some situations, 1 additional defense for melee cards is a good way to place cards. For example, if we have Brooks and he has 8 defense with Defendership, giving him 1 more on 9 can be crucial. So we will use Azrin's Essence, and then we have our deck finished. Well, that's, to sum it up, the deck is called Tock Mfer, which is a destructive, time-reducing, annoying deck to play against. Yeah, and our job with that deck is to annoy the more experienced players and to push them to their limits. Yeah, let's see if we achieve that. I already played some games before, but I had some frame drops, which is why I can't take those games for this video, but I will play some now and we will see how that goes. Alright guys, we are playing against our good buddy Beer and Chips, who actually gave us a tip, or suggested that we should take Iron Rush, and I think we have to right away punish him for that. That's meant of course, in a funny way. Vauk. What did I have? Bricks, Mfer, Vauk, and the Tunisia. I think that's probably a good start. Yeah. So we do have 6. I would. We can do it like that. Yeah, let's do it like that. What does he have? Probably that's the right thing to do. Oh, he has only 100 seconds left. TikTok, buddy. We will do it like that. Place him right there. This results in having a lot of options. I mean, there could be some trades now. I think he is coming for bricks with Maro and Lorik, but in both cases I will destroy Lorik. Even if he's coming with Egrid, he has to use the Night Prince in order to get what he wants if he tries to destroy bricks. Okay, interesting. Now we can go for Maro, we can go for Lorik, we can go for the Night Prince. Now we're making a very good play. We will equip Kishk, place, I think, yeah, place thing right there. Don't use, yeah, let's use him on this side. First one, second one. Okay, he is not going away with his hero. Interesting. Okay, now okay, he surrendered. I think he didn't see Kishk, but yeah, seems like an annoying deck. Okay, we have a rematch. Same decks. play against BM Chips again. He's starting again. We will go the same starting 5. I had here 2 warriors. Maybe he made some adjustments for his deck in the first game. Yeah, I feel a little bit bad because as I said, yeah, let's do it like that. The time pressure thing is pretty difficult to play against, especially if both players are on a similar level. It is just annoying to play against. Now we can use, as you see, time is ticking for him again. Now we can use Mfer against Lorik. We will do it like that. We give him 1 defense, which means that he has to come with. No, we will pressure right away. We will pressure right away. And we will keep. No, we can actually keep Chupa right there. We move Mfer right there. We will move. We will stay with go like that, and we could make pressure now with Iron Rush 8. That's an interesting play right there. Alright, he's moving that back. Now we can place, I think, drugs right there. High defense. We can start with. Do it like that. Take rid of Fiora, get Lorik, which means that we can use 1 Naphas for, and we will get Kish on this position. He has to do that. That's okay. We could go for, if he does that, we could move bricks to his side. That's 4. That's actually 4. Let's try something out. That's 4, 8, 12. Now we make a sick play with five morale left. We can make a sick play with Blancaro right there. And we will help the right side. If we go 4, 9, that's 11. And he destroys 2, 3. That's okay. We will do it like that. Okay, that's 4. No, can't do that. 5. He can't get away with Victor. All right. That's a nice display of Blancaro ability. Oh, that's a big Eva. Okay. The game is done. He can't get away with Victor. Game is done. Well, the Blancaro ability came in very handy. I think it saved the game, to be honest. They played very well.